Today on the channel is the return of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and in today's video, we bring the heat with Harlem Heat.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, a Thursday tradition here on this very YouTube channel. As every single Thursday, I'm counting down my top 5 and sometimes top 10 favorites of something. And today in the crosshairs, we got one of the greatest tag teams in WCW history. Dare I say one of the greatest tag teams of all time in Booker T and Stevie Ray, Harlem Heat. And of course, we're going to do this countdown like we do all the other countdowns on the channel. We're going to start at number 5, work our way to number 1, number 1 being my favorite. Reminder, this is my list, so it's 100% right, just like your list can be 100% right. Put your list in the comments down below. And as a little kid watching GWF wrestling, that's where I first discovered Harlem Heat, the Ebony experience back then. But guys, I remember seeing in GWF, and then later on, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Stunning Steve at the time, seeing him eventually over from USWA into WCW. It was like, oh, okay, people are trading back and forth a little bit. Some of my first memories of that. And I've always been a pretty big Harlem Heat fan. Always really cool when Booker T broke off, did his thing, had that long TV title feuds, his matches with Rick Martel and even Benoit really put him on the map as a singles performer, I always thought. And then he closed out WCW, bookended WCW, no pun intended, as their world champion. Went on to great success, of course, in the WWE, King Booker, all that fun stuff. Stevie Ray, very underrated, a heavy, if there ever was one, the muscle of the group, kind of like the Mark Summers of this YouTube channel. Just the muscle in the background. That was Stevie Ray, later on a commentator. We know his kind of history. Basically retired when WCW went out. He was kind of done from then on in the mainstream wrestling, unfortunately. Of course, Harlem Heat, Hall of Famers in the WWE at this point. And like I said, one of the greatest tag teams, if not the greatest tag team of the 90s. You could easily make the argument. I remember Sensational Sherry, or Sister Sherry at the time, really cementing them, putting them on the map as well. So it was really nice to have Sensational Sherry involved. It would be really cool to get a Harlem Heat version of Sister Sherry in the future. I wouldn't be shocked if Mattel doesn't come out with that in the future as well. So hopefully that's on the horizon. So we'll see. But of course, we're going to start it off, and we're going to start off the countdown at number 5. All right, we begin the countdown, of course, at number 5. At number 5, we go to the original San Francisco Toy Makers. At the time, I was very excited. They had the LJN feel. Then, once I got them in hand, a little of that nostalgia wore off. It wasn't quite what I was looking for, so I was pretty much out on them. But then, years later, I don't know, nostalgia is a heck of a thing. You remember seeing them at KB Toy Store and all points in between, and you get a little bit sentimental about them. At least I have, and I have the complete collection, as you guys do know, except that dark-skinned Jimmy Hart. One day I'll find that one, maybe. But coming in at number 5 is original San Francisco Toy Makers, Booker T, Stevie Ray, Harlem Heat. And we're going to the singles series, Series 3, for Harlem Heat in the purple color here. Now, a lot of variants on this, a lot of different colors for Harlem Heat in the original San Francisco Toy Makers toy line. Purple definitely feels different, especially with the recent Mattel ones we've had. It'd be interesting if we get a purple one in the future from Mattel. But definitely a cool look here with the purple. Something different, feels different. By no means iconic, and that's why it's a little farther down my list, of course, is I don't really remember them wearing purple a whole lot. It definitely looks different, definitely stands out from the crowd. There's no doubt about it. So coming in at number 5, single cards, Series 3, Stevie Ray, Booker T, Harlem Heat. We're swinging into number 4, and number 4, once again, we go to the original San Francisco Toy Makers line. We go all the way to Series 2 Tag Team, Series 3 Singles, Stevie Ray, Booker T, Harlem Heat, this time in bright, vibrant red. Now, these were released single, like I said, also as a tag team. Gotta get the most out of your molds, gotta get the most out of your wrestlers, I guess, original San Francisco Toy Makers said. And very, very cool, very bright. Really like the bright colors on this one. Definitely stand out for them. Of course, the hat's always looking really good as well. I should talk about this. Of course, they're all the same figures in the original San Francisco Toy Makers line, just different colors. But I will say the faces were very interesting. Stevie Ray always looked better to me than Booker T did. And Booker T's got a little bit of teeth showing, but almost looks like he's got like something in his mouth or a piece of gum or something. I always was a little questionable on this face sculpt for Booker T, but a very, very good rendition here. And if you were a player out there, these figures do get scuffed up, but boy, if you're a kid playing, these are two great playability characters right here, the way they are made here. But definitely looking really cool. Love the yellow flame effects against the red. Just all-timers. And the fourth best Booker T Stevie Ray Harlem Heat figure of all time, as voted by me. We've hit the halfway point in the countdown. You got your list together. Put it in the comments down below. Of course, you guys know how it goes. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, as every Thursday we got a new countdown video. But here we are at the halfway point. And for the first time on the list, but not the last time, we're going to Mattel. We're going to the Elite Series. We're going to Series 3, Walmart exclusive WCW Monday Night Wars, Booker T, Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray once again. I would say probably their most iconic attire is the black attire. It felt like they wore those the most. I could be wrong, but in my brain, when I think Harlem Heat, I do think this. Now, not my favorite outfits from Harlem Heat, but definitely do stand out, definitely very memorable, so they had to be on this list. There was no way around it. And this is for out of the latest and greatest from the WCW Monday Night Wars series, as we do know. But looking good with the red flames against the black. Harlem Heat all day long. You got the nose strips on both of them. Just iconic Harlem Heat. And I think the majority of collectors out there, if they're only getting one Harlem Heat from Mattel, this is probably the one they're looking to track down. I could be wrong, but that's my guess right there. So coming in at number 3, Series 3, Monday Night Wars, of course, Harlem Heat. All right, getting dangerously close to the end of the list here. We're at number 2, and number 2 giving me a little bit of that old-fashioned deja vu as once again we go to WCW Monday Night Wars Series 3. We go to the Chase Edition, Harlem Heat in blue. I'm a sucker for the color blue, so this one really pops. I really like the looks of this one here. Once again, talked about the last one. The black feels a lot more iconic than the blue, but these blues stand out on a shelf. You can't miss these standing on a shelf. They're so bright and vibrant, and then the flames add a little extra pizzazz to this one. A very fun set, a very frustrating set, though. I am not a big fan of Mattel putting Chases as tag teams, because you get people that order online or they go to a store, you find one blue, one black of one of them. It's very frustrating for the collector. It is an extra challenge, but the average Joe out there, they just want all black or all blue, one or the other. Don't do tag teams as Chases. But with that being said, I still enjoy this one a heck of a whole lot. That's why it's coming in at number 2 in my top 5 Harlem Heat figures of all time, which means there can only be one. Like a young Highlander, what is the number 1 Harlem Heat set of all time? Stay tuned. We've hit the number 1 spot in the countdown. You got your list together. Put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We got countdowns every single week, but the number 1 spot is here. We're finally here, and we're going all the way back to WWE Mattel Elite Series 47 for Stevie Ray, Booker T, Harlem Heat. 2-in-1 kind of, as you got different hats for them, so you can choose your own hat adventure for these two. But of course, looking very good, very bright red, and the first time we actually got Harlem Heat in the more modern style figure line. So a very, very exciting one to get released. I remember the excitement. Of course, you could feel it in the streets. You could feel it at the Kmarts and Walmarts. It was just a groundswell. You could just feel it over the intercom. People were saying, "We got Harlem Heat in." They would say that to all the customers. Maybe not, but definitely very exciting times. And the newest ones obviously are better figures with the updated articulations, faces, things like that. But there was something special, something about a moment in time. Getting Harlem Heat, of course, one of the greatest tag teams of all time for the first time in the Mattel Elite line. Very, very cool here in the red. And I wouldn't be shocked if one day we get a Harlem Heat Ultimate Edition set. And I wouldn't be shocked if we got him in this red color. So we'll see what happens in the future. We'll see what lays in wait for Harlem Heat in the future. I would imagine, now we got Stevie Ray just recently in Series 3, Booker T as well, but I could see possibly a Stevie Ray NWO. I think that would be a little bit of a layup. I hope they do that in the future. We'll see what ends up happening there. But for me, number 1 Harlem Heat figures of all time. We're going back to the infancies of the Elite line, or middle of the road of the Elite line for Harlem Heat. But what are your guys' thoughts? What's your top 5 list? Let me know in the comments down below. You made it this far, don't forget to like the video, of course. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel. Check out Patreon for early access to this video and all the other videos on both of my YouTube channels. You get all the glamour shots, all that other stuff, a lot of stuff over on the Patreon. And best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So for Harlem Heat, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.